Welcome back, everybody. Derrick Soo, your East Oakland advocate. Today, I'm going to talk about the my Oakland housing plan number three. And housing plan number three involves one of the most controversial settings here in Oakland, and that's referred to as the Highway 980 corridor through downtown Oakland. And it really divided Oakland, West Oakland from Oakland proper. And what I mean Oakland proper was that that's where everybody went to shop. It was downtown Oakland. Uh, all your department stores, all of your food, uh, clothing, jewelry, anything and everything that you needed, everything that West Oakland needed. But because the way Oakland laid things out, they made things difficult, and then they put in, you know, the federal moat, we'll call it, and that was Highway 980, and that project started in the mid 60s. How do I know about that? Because my family, uh, my grandfather on my dad's side and my grandmother, plus a lot of my dad's siblings, lived in a home. They owned it outright when they immigrated from Hong Kong and came here. My grandfather had the wherewithal and enough wealth where he bought the home free and clear. And the home at the time when he purchased it, it was one of the first neighborhoods of Oakland, and it was in. Uh, I remember it in the '60s, and I remember all of the things that happened to the family and the stress that it caused on my grandparents, plus the family, and there was nothing that they could do. And the really sad part was uh, they owned the home free and clear. So that cemented uh, essentially um, generational wealth. And um, what the state and the government paid my grandparents for in terms of value was not the value of the home and the property. It was simply the property value. The home was irrelevant. They didn't want the home, and so they didn't include the value of a home, and they only paid for the value of the property, which essentially was $25,000, half the cost of the home and property. And so everything else in the city of Oakland, if you want to stay in the city of Oakland and you were fortunate enough to be paid $25,000 because you owned your property free and clear, uh, you were lucky. If you didn't own your property free and clear at the time and you had a mortgage on it, you got nothing, literally. All you were instructed to do was uh, uh, give all the information to the county and the state. They would go ahead and take care of any mortgage or payoff in order to acquire that land through the eminent domain. And so the banks had no choice either on this, and they lost value. So anyway, if you wanted to stay in Oakland, you had to uh, find a home at least $50,000 in 1972, and that wasn't that terribly difficult back then. You just didn't have a lot of homes at 50,000, and the home that the family ended up purchasing and moving into, it was a miserable location. It was in the Fruitvale, and the thing was there was nearly 60 steps from the street level to get to the front door. 60 steps. So if you were elderly, that was not the home for you. But that was what was available at the time. My parents had their home. They had paid $40,000 for their beautiful home in the Oakland Hills, in 1966 is when we moved in. And so that was a very beautiful home and a more modern home. But anyway, the 980 has always been a real sore spot for a lot of Oaklanders. Plus, one of the most famous architects here in the Bay Area, Julia Morgan, the Morgan family home, was part of that area on 14th Street, and it was demolished as part of the 980, the Highway 980 um, corridor through downtown Oakland. And the reason why it was created was because now the Oakland Coliseum and the arena needed fast access to get to Highway 24. And so, and they needed to have it truck friendly. And so that was always planned. That particular route had been planned way back in the 30s. And so it wasn't anything new, and it wasn't a new concept. It was just a matter of planning and timing. And during the 70s, when there was a lot of money coming into the city from the federal government, from the state, and then it was just the right time to put the Highway 980 in. And that created the federal moat, the dividing line between old Oakland, the poor Oakland, and real shopping. And that was always been a sore spot for a lot of people. And in fact, it's been spoken about so much, even during Libby Schaaf's administration. They put together a study, a panel to study the feasibility of removing the Highway 980. And here's where I have a problem with that, because all of these families, nearly 3,000 families back then, lost generational wealth. They lost their homes. They were robbed of generational wealth. And so by taking out Highway 980, I see it as an insult to all of those families that lost that generational wealth, my family included. And I have a say in this because, you know, my family was affected, my dad's side of the family, and it really affected the family. It divided the family, in fact, and I lost touch with my dad's side of the family. Instead of having an extended SOO and SUE family, I just had the SOO, our household, and my mother's side of the family. And so I lost contact with a lot of my cousins who I actually went to school with in Oakland High School. And it was only then that, you know, I got to see some of them. Not many, but some of them. But anyway, that's always been a sore spot here in Oakland. And what I know, the city of Oakland, Mayor Shangtao should have taken the reins on this, because she always spoke about EIFD, which is Enhanced Infrastructure Funding District. But we didn't need that, because we had a visitor from the United States government, the federal government, Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg. And he was made aware. He toured here in Oakland back in October 2022 and put up on the table $980 million to help resolve that problem, the Highway 980 corridor. And if you look at that, it makes sense to build a platform, a bridge over that entire area. And because that's part of the federal highway system and state highway system, that could be Caltrans property. And so that becomes community land trust property. And what we want to do with that community land trust property is put back the neighborhoods that were all destroyed back in the late 60s into the 70s to make way for the Highway 980. And when we build back these communities, we're going to build them back, not to the old standard, but we're going to use new standards of construction to make these homes affordable. And each one of the homes are going to be part of the new construction, new ideas with hempcrete, which is a new sustainable material. It's easier to work with. It has a durability lifespan of approximately 100 years. And then, even then, it can be broken down, recycled, and reused for more hempcrete. So it is a sustainable, usable item, and it's fireproof. And because the walls are so thick, it makes it bulletproof also. So that here in the urban setting, we have to think ahead and think about how we can better protect our homes, our valuables inside the homes, along with ourselves. And so that's part of the new technology that's incorporated into these new neighborhoods that we restore because we build over the 980, and the 980 continues, but we restore up to 2,500 new, modern, fireproof, bulletproof, secured homes that are self-sufficient. And I say self-sufficient because they are off-grid solar powered. They're all electric, and they do have a gas option, but that would be propane. And so that's not an option that we really want to talk about, because we're trying to get away from gases, creating greenhouse gases, and reducing our carbon footprint. And all of these do that, exactly what we need. So this was plan number 3, building over Highway 980, the corridor through downtown Oakland, to restore up to 2,500 homes. But also, on top of that, we could put in a major league soccer stadium downtown, and that will enhance the tourist attraction and popularity of uptown Oakland, restoring vital tourism visits from not only people going to the soccer games, but also this helps enhance the nightlife of uptown, restores restaurants, bars, entertainment centers, and then also fills a lot of those empty apartments in uptown Oakland. So it does a lot of things by using this $980 million that has been put on the table. But here's the thing: there's a deadline for this, and it needs to be acted upon very quickly. And then that's why we need to recall Mayor Shangtao, get her out, get me in the office. That way I can help secure that $980 million grant from the federal government to help with that 980 project. We restore 2,500 single-family homes that are between 600 to 1,200 square feet in interior volume space, all electric, very green and carbon neutral. So these are ideas that need to be moved forward, and that's why I say I'm here to help move Oakland into the future, and that's how we're going to be doing that. You don't see any other politicians talking about solutions. I'm giving you solutions, talking about them, how they're going to be financed, funded, and who they benefit. Thanks for joining me today. We'll be right back.